Welcome back to season 6 of Time to Change.
We have some amazing conversations lined up from people doing the work. I'm excited for those and the change that it'll hopefully spark.
I can't wait to jump in. So let's get started.
Dom, how you feeling today, man?
I'm feeling great. Excited to talk with you. Probably just a little bit more excited, Jason, to bring in Enrique as well. I think this is going to be a great conversation.
Right? So our guest today, Enrique Rubio, the founder of Hacking HR. He's also involved with the community Transform, and he is considered one of the top 100 HR influencers in the world. And we're going to dive into all of that because I'm going to give you a chance to tell us about who you are and what you're doing. So hit it. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you guys for having me. I am just a normal dude in love with HR and trying to make it work, trying to elevate the quality of the work that we do for one very important reason. And that is that everybody who works in HR impacts the lives of anywhere between 200 and 600 people. So the power that we have to either make somebody's life amazing or absolutely miserable is just magnificent. And I am hoping that we grasp the power that we have and that we do the best we can to create a better society, a better world through the work that we do in HR. That's not a small thing. Not every function in the world has that capacity or that impact. We do in HR. So that's what excites me so much. And the work that I do, it has been for the past 7 or 8 years around that. I founded a community called Hacking HR with the purpose of bringing together leaders, practitioners, technologists from all over the world to have great conversations about the future of work, the future of HR, and ultimately elevate HR. So I'm the founder of that community. I have a team working in Hacking HR, running all the operations day to day. And I am also the head of global community for Transform, which started as a conference in Las Vegas. I was lucky enough to participate in the very first conference that they did in 2018. And when I went there, I had already been in many conferences before, but when I went to that one, I thought to myself, there's something different here, right? And it started small, but I was thinking, most of the other events that I joined are very vendor oriented. It's like all conversations that are led and guided by what the vendors are selling. But when I joined Transform, it was practitioners talking to practitioners. It was people on the ground, on the trenches, telling others, "This is what I'm doing. These are my successes. These are my mess ups, and I want to be here as a resource for you guys." So I have been not only a fan of Transform for a number of years, but a year and a half ago, I joined them to help them build a global community of chapters around the world in every major city around the world with the purpose of having local conversations also about the future of people and the future of work. So ultimately, what I do is build communities, bring people together with the purpose of elevating HR with the ultimate goal of creating a better world through HR. So that's a little bit about me and a little bit about the work that I do. And I'm a very loud Venezuelan, by the way. Just in case
I love it. I love it.
Notice.
It kind of just comes through his pores. Like you can feel it through the camera. I'm getting jazzed up. And I'm like a million miles away. I'm like, yes, this is fantastic.
Thank you.
No, it's great. And shout out to you, Minola. I know you're going to see this. Minola Jac, Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I appreciate your book, and I appreciate all the connections you've put in my path. Enrique, just a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. Yeah. Minola is one of the most amazing humans in the world. And sorry, Dom, just want to say one thing, and that is it's Minola, but there are so many Minolas in Transform and Hacking HR, people who come into these communities and selflessly and generously, they are coming to give. They are coming to share their story, their insights, their experiences with others that are eager to learn from them. So I have been so lucky, man. I tell you, my path has crossed with so many wonderful people like you two guys, Minola, and many like her.
Enrique, your passion for what you do and why you do it is just, it's infectious, sir.
Yeah.
Infectious. So, knowing that you have such a broad reach with so many practitioners, and you've clearly done this work for quite some time, I want to toss up a question and just let you riff on it. As you look across the broader HR spectrum and you have the conversations that you're having, what are two of the most prevalent opportunities that you feel the HR function faces today? And then conversely, what are two blind spots that if we're not
Mm.
careful could get us into some trouble in HR?
I'm going to cheat when I'm providing an answer to that question because I'm going to say the same two things that are opportunities are the same two blind spots for
Let's do
HR
it.
right now.
Let's
So
do it.
I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna cheat the system. Um, so opportunity number one is technology. There's no doubt that technology is the greatest opportunity that HR has ever had to deliver the greatest amount of value with less effort than we think we need to deliver that amount of value. It's also a blind spot because we yet don't know the real power of technology, particularly artificial intelligence. We still don't really get it. It's like, you have, there used to be this stand-up comedian in Venezuela, and he used to, like, when I was living in there, he used to say, oh my gosh, in the US, you can buy a Ferrari, but you can only drive at 80 miles an hour. You can never drive it all the way because you're going to get pulled over by the police. So it's like having a Ferrari and not being able to drive it, to its maximum capacity, right? That's what's happening with technology. It's a great opportunity to go fast, efficiently, effectively, deliver great amount of value, but we don't know yet the capacity that technology can give us. So, opportunity and blind spots when it comes to technology, particularly AI. On the other side, which seemingly is a competing value or a competing priority between with technology, it is creating people first organizations. You may say, wait a second, but how can I create a people first organization if I know in advance that because AI, I'm going to have to fire some people? And that is going to happen, by the way. I'm not. I'm not lying to myself here and creating false expectations that, oh yeah, AI will create more jobs in the short term and everybody will have a job and you will get 10 hours back every week to go to the beach and have fun. That may happen eventually, but it's not going to happen in the short term. No technology revolution has ever done that in the short term. So on the second part of my answer is that creating people first organizations, creating people first cultures with leveraging technology, leveraging AI is such an amazing opportunity that HR has to create a world where we focus on well-being, where we cater to people's mental health, where we create a holistic experience where people come to work not just to produce money for the richest people in the world or the shareholders of the company, but where people come to find an outlet that allows them to truly master their craft, to truly be who they are meant to be. They come to work and they say, I am so passionate about being like a nurse or yesterday I met a midwife, kind of nurse, and I'm like, I was thinking like, why would anybody want to do this? And she told me, I love this, right? So imagine creating an organization where somebody like that can come to work and not just do the work, but find an outlet to their passion. So that is an amazing opportunity that we have, but it's also a blind spot because we have been talking about this for so long, and still today we talk about it as if we have never talked about it in the past. So we still say, oh, we have to align with the business and build, people first cultures. And I'm like, yeah, but we've been talking about the same thing for 10 years. I mean, why are
Right?
we still talking about it, right? I mean, it's like if every year you have a resolution and the resolution is the same one every year, oh man, something's wrong with you. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, something's weird. Something's fishy here, right? So the same thing has happened to HR. Every year it's like, this year I promise that I'm going to align my initiatives with the business and that I'm going to create a people first culture. And the following year, or on December the 31st, we look back and we're like, oh, we didn't do it that well. So let me promise myself to do the same thing again next year. So it is time, because the impact of technology that we can leverage to be more effective, more efficient, more productive, but also to provide a great experience for our people. This is the right time to create a people first culture. So to me, those are the two greatest opportunities of HR right now, but also the two spots that we really need to be a lot more aware of and act on the right strategies, right, to leverage on those things.
Wow, that's the best cheat ever. I mean, if that was a cheat, that was just brilliant.
Was a good
That
one,
was
right?
just, that was good. Yeah, and you hit, it's funny as I'm sitting here thinking, like I wanted to ask this question and you like stomped all over the ground and just made it even easier for me to ask this because we hear it all the time. And as somebody that's not only been in the HR world and is still doing some HR activities in and around nonprofits and social good entities, and then has a nonprofit that's all about people first. We talk about people first and we wave this flag, but
Yeah,
so many people don't understand what that means. And
yeah,
so many businesses think that people first means that I'm going to not make any money.
yeah. No,
So,
yeah.
talk about that for a minute, what people first really looks like and why so many companies still are having a hard time understanding how much more profitable they would be if they were a people first organization.
Well, let me begin by saying this to kind of like open up my response. It seems to me that some business leaders think that they can't walk and breathe at the same time. That humans are only able to do one thing at a time. Either you breathe and don't and not do anything else, or you walk and don't breathe, in which case you die. Right? We can do more than one thing at a time, and sometimes doing one thing has an impact on the other thing. It's it's not that it's not that they are not connected. It's that you don't see the connection. So you can build a people first culture and still be a profitable organization. These two are not in contradiction with each other. Those business leaders, and particularly those HR leaders, and there are many of them out there, by the way, who see this as a contradiction, who see that if you create a people first culture, you cannot create a business oriented organization. And that if you create a business oriented organization, you can't create a people first culture. Those are the kind of people who wouldn't be able to walk and breathe at the same time. And that's impossible, right? That's not something that actually happens. So the first thing that you have to do is understand that one thing does not prevent the other. On the contrary, one thing is the springboard for the other, which is funny because it's like a little bit of a what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Do we first create a business oriented organization, meaning a profitable organization, or do we first focus on building a people first organization? And the truth is that you have to do both because they are in a self reinforcing cycle. Let me give you one example of this. If you do not make money as an organization, hacking HR, transform. If we don't make money, there's no hacking HR and there's no transform, meaning there's no conference, there's no community, there are no activities, there are no events, and that's the end of it. A bunch of people in HR would suffer if we did not exist in the community because we provide some level of value. So we do need to make money to make sure that we are sustaining this value over time. Now, if the people that work in these organizations came to work and they were mentally exhausted, burned out, upset all the time, they hated the work that they do, maybe they won't be doing their best. And we may be delivering a tiny bit of value, but not our real promise when it comes to the value that we could potentially deliver to our stakeholders.
Okay.
So building a people first culture means, among many things, by the way, because it's a lot of things, but one of them is people who are holistically well, physically well, mentally well, emotionally well. So when you are that kind of a person, you come to work and you say, oh my gosh, I'm ready to take over the world today and I'm going to do my best today. And doing so makes money for the company, by the way. But if I am upset at my boss, if my boss is a piece of shit and I come to work and I hate my boss, I have been there, by the way. If I hate my boss, if I don't want to work in this organization, if I only come here because I need the money, I'm probably not going to do my best. So that's not a first people culture if the culture is forcing that person to not be well. And therefore, I'm not going to be able to make potentially what I could make for that business. So
Yeah.
these two things are not in contradiction with each other. If you focus on creating a people first culture or organization, meaning, among other things, people are healthy, holistically, those people will be delivering the greatest amount of value, therefore making more money for your business. If you don't do that, you can't sustain the greatest amount of value for your business. But obviously, if you're not making money, doesn't matter how much you invest today in making people feel great. You can only sustain that for the next 1 month, and then you have to fire them because you don't have any more money. So the two things are very powerful and a self-reinforcing cycle. So that is one tiny example of why building a people first organization is not in contradiction with creating a business oriented organization as well that makes money for the stakeholders and for everybody involved in that organization.
Oh wow, wow, wow,
Yeah, yeah. I
wow.
just,
I
we should have made this like an hour-long live.
I have to step on the soapbox with you, if I may, sir. And Chasen, this is your fault for bringing HR nerds together in the same space
That's what
with
happens, right?
somebody as much passion as he has. One of the my perspective, one of the reasons I think why that opposite view of is it business or is it people first exists is because often found that a general business acumen for a long time have been lacking in the HR space.
Mm-hmm.
So what you typically get is I'm really strong in the HR types of initiatives and modes of operating. Now I need to find a problem in the business to apply those. So when it comes to resourcing and airtime, do we focus on the business things or do we focus on the HR things that are looking for a problem to solve? But in reality, as we develop acumen of and the ability to sit at the table with executives and business operators and say, tell me what's most important to you. And I'll tell you how to approach it in a way that's people minded.
Yeah.
There's a synergy there that naturally happens where they aren't competing. I'm helping you achieve everything you need to. It's just how you go about it puts the people
Mm-hmm.
first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that
Yeah.
resonate with you?
Oh my gosh, so much, so much. And I want to tell you, if you don't mind, a couple of things about that, like a reaction to your very valid observation. The first reaction is that the HR leaders of the future are the HR leaders who see themselves as business leaders who wear a people hat.
Mm,
That's that's a that's a unique view of
mhm,
HR. When you think of yourself as a business leader who needs to focus on the success of the organization and the success of the people, not just the success of HR. These are two different. You can be a successful HR and the organization may be shit. So
mhm,
you got to do the two things at the same time. So you are a business leader with a people hat. So that is one thing that I want
mhm,
to share as a reaction to your comment. And the other thing is this, and this is something, by the way, that I have been saying for no less than 10 years at least. And it is this. Uh, when you look at the most brilliant, talented, people in the world in history, whether they are scientists or athletes or writers or musicians, they don't do just the one thing they excel at. Albert Einstein was perhaps one of the greatest scientists, in history. But he loved music. The guy would, when he couldn't solve a problem, he would go and play the violin, to try to find, inspiration, right? So these people, he was one of the greatest physics in the world, but that's not the only thing he did. In the case of HR, if you want to build the greatest HR function ever, you it's not enough to be great in HR or at HR. You have to be very good at business acumen. You have to be very good at financial acumen. You have to be very good in marketing. You may be okay in technology. You may be okay in operations, but you have to have an understanding of how all these fields impact your business. If you think you can build the greatest HR ever just by doing HR, oh my gosh, you're making a big mistake. And one mistake that not only are you going to pay, a hefty price right now, that price is increasing over time because over and over, over time, over the years, we see less core or traditionally core HR and more other things and how HR makes sense of them in the context of people. So anyway, to your point, Dom, you have to be very good at a number of different things. including business acumen. And one more thing, by the way, I said there was going to be 2 comments, but it's going to be 3. You said that we're lacking business acumen, and that is very true. And the addition to that is not only that we're lacking business acumen, is that a lot of the existing business acumen is obsolete, but that's what we use. We use leadership models. We use performance models. Like let me talk about performance. Performance. We all agree that performance is crap. The traditional annual reviews
Oh,
where people get feedback only one time a year, and the compensation is tied to rating based, and all of this stuff like the curve. And when you ask business leaders, I think it's something like 97% of them tell you this doesn't work, but we don't know anything else. And therefore, we're going to continue using the same thing. And I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me. I mean, there are so many other things that you can do. That's not the only thing we know, but it's the only thing that we traditionally have accepted as the truth. So it's not only that we're lacking business acumen, it's that the tools and the business acumen that we're using right now very often is completely obsolete. So we got to upgrade our systems here, to be able to embrace all of these things that I just talked about, following your lead, Dom. So thank you for sharing that.
oh
Absolutely. Brilliant.
my
Brilliant.
goodness. Oh my goodness. We could have made this like idiot. We could have,
A
these were
whole
so
day, a whole day.
many drop mic moments. It's absolutely incredible. Enrique, thank you so much for just
Thank you,
dropping
guys.
the knowledge, man, and coming in. I couldn't agree with you anymore if I had to. And it's just like fantastic to hear these kind of perspectives. What are you excited about for in 2025? What excites you and what are you looking forward to?
I, I think this is going to be a very difficult year, and we have already seen that. I don't want to get into politics, but it's been a month of chaos already. By the time you're releasing this podcast, it's going to be about 2 months of chaos. And I think what excites me about this year, as much afraid and fearful as I am, about so many different things in our country and in the world, I think what excites me is that we will see a large cohort of people speaking up, people who never spoke up before because they thought that they were being neutral, or that they were being respectful, or that they were being careful and cautious about what they were saying. I think we're going to see a cohort of people saying this is not okay. I saw, by the time we're recording this, I think yesterday I saw a town hall with a Republican congressman in West Virginia, of all places, by the way, in West Virginia, and the people of West Virginia who voted for that person, very upset at so many things that were going on, and speaking up, saying, why are you not doing anything to put control on these things? So we are going to see it's very exciting to see people participating in the political processes in our country. And I think we're going to see a cohort of people saying, we're going in the wrong way. This is not right. I may agree with you on less taxes, but I'm not agreeing with you on firing 20% of our federal workforce, right? So that excites me because we need more people participating, regardless of their voices, by the way, regardless of whether, they are conservatives or liberals, right, left, doesn't matter. Participate in the political process. Don't let anybody else make decisions for you, because they will make the right decisions for all of us. So that excites me a lot. So in the middle of all this chaos that I think our country is experiencing right now, I think seeing those voices, rise up to the moment and to the challenges of this era and this year, I think that's my hope. That's what gives me hope. So I'm hoping that we see more of that, more people speaking up, more people, standing up for what's right, not just for them individually, but for all of us together, collectively.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for being on the show with Dom and I. Thank
Thank you,
you
guys.
for your expertise. Thank you for what you're doing with Hacking HR and Transform. And I look forward to following your work and hearing more as you move forward.
Thank you,
We
guys.
have been on Time to Change. We will catch you next time. Thank you, Enrique. Take care.